We are live. Hi, guys. It's Michael with the Pet's Journey, and I'm so excited again. Jenny from Floppycats has asked us so that we could do a live just to kind of break down our wellness support system that we have for you guys. And so today we're going to let Jenny kind of run the show a little bit. Look at her. She's like, thank you. Did you get your McDonald's coffee? That's my question.
No.
Uh-oh.
No. I got it this morning, which is bad, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I just did my little Insta, thank God for my little machine. I don't know what I would do without it.
Do you have a Keurig or an espresso?
An espresso.
Ooh.
Ooh.
My brother-in-law has one of those.
It's good. I mean, it's like it makes it so. I mean, by the time I go to of course they do the math for you for Starbucks and all that. Like, how much money are you spending a month in Starbucks? Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably spend close to the same, I want to say, with the Nespresso.
Oh, really?
Well, not really, because it costs $1. It costs $1 a cup of coffee with Nespresso. But for some reason, it seems like I drink more. That's what it is.
Yes, because it's more convenient in there. Yeah.
That's what it is I drink more than I rather than running out to Starbucks, because I'm not, it's not real close. So Starbucks is like once a day, where this could be like 2-3 times a day. So that's where it changes so quickly, price, cost wise.
Yes.
So here we are with Floppycats. So hi everybody. I'm just going to jump into this, and we're just going to start a conversation and just let it take off where it takes off. But today I'm really excited. Today we have Kit Crusaders, which is one of our new pet rescues that reached out to us. And it's like so cute, because it's like, for me, we had visited with them probably a year ago. And the people that were there, they were like, oh, Eastern medicine, what? And I was like, that's okay. We're here. We'll be back. We'll be back someday. We'll see you again someday. And sure enough, like probably 2 weeks ago, I went by there, and one of their cats was in one of the crates, just rah, rah, rah. So I told my husband, I'm like, okay, we got to go back to the car. I got to get no more drama. At least we could give it to the person to see if they want to give it to the cat, right? And so sure enough, we met Susan, the lady who started the foundation, and she's like, oh my gosh, she goes, I love Eastern Chinese medicine. I said, well, where were you a year ago? She goes, probably here. And I said, no, you weren't here a year ago. And I sat there and I said, well, it's nice to meet you. And so we've become really good friends, and she's, I'm getting to know her, and I always like I always vet my rescues. I think it's really important to vet your rescues, because a lot of times people, and this is really good for everybody in the audience and people that hear this after the live, is that over the pandemic, I learned a lot about rescues, or more than I knew before the pandemic. And unfortunately, during the pandemic, a lot of backyard breeders popped up. And if people don't know what backyard breeders are, it's people that just end up having, like, usually it's kind of like almost a mistake that it happens sometimes, that it happens on some of them, where they had a male and they had a female pet of the same maybe species, let's say cat, dog, right? And by chance, they just happened to got together and they got pregnant, and they're like, oh, what are we gonna do with these kittens? And they're like, oh, maybe we could sell the kittens. They're so cute. And they ended up selling the kittens. And next thing you know, they're like, wow, we sold those pretty easily. Let's do it again. And unfortunately, some of these backyard breeders, when they have two pets that are alike, some of them, sometimes they usually come from the same family sometimes. If you go to adopt one pet, you're like, look at how cute that must be his sister. Oh, they belong together. I got to bring them home together. You bring them home together, and all of a sudden you have a brother and sister. But then all of a sudden, when these backyard breeders have these situations where all of a sudden the sister gets pregnant, they're like, oh, let's have babies. And let's sell it. And then all of a sudden this becomes a habit of theirs, and they really don't understand potentially the issue with it is because it's not healthy to be breeding the same families. It's like us, it's like, it's not good to marry your cousin, even though we know a lot of people, we've heard a lot of stories, but really that's the case, is like these backyard breeders end up having these relatives breeding each other. And next thing you know, you don't see it in the beginning, but later down the line, that structure, that DNA structure that's so strong to begin with, starts to fall apart. And later down the line, that really starts to fall apart. And in their older age, or even during birth, or in their childhood or teenage years, they start to have a lot of issues. And people are like going, but it seemed like a healthy cat. It's not about that. It's about the genetics fighting each other, and they're not in sync any longer. So we vet our rescues just like we vet our stores that, carry our products. Is that we just want to make sure that they're true to our mission as well as their mission. And sometimes a lot of people will say, yeah, we do this because we love to do it. And then when you really find out the reason why they're doing it is all about the dollar, which is okay, because we all need to make the dollar. But the bottom line is like, if you're going to say you're on this mission, be on this mission. If you're going to be on that mission, be on that mission. That's okay. Hey, that's life. We know it. But yeah, so we signed up Susan and Kit Crusaders today, and it was so beautiful because one of the assistants came. She goes, oh my God, we love you guys already. She goes, remember that one cat when you were here screaming? And honestly, I mean, I hear screams all the time, so I don't tune into them. We block it out at a certain point, right? So I kind of just blocked out this cat, but evidently this cat is like a screamer all the time. And so they're like, oh my God, it's been a game changer for her. And so now, she's there now, bringing it to all the people at her rescue coming by, and she has our little display now. And then anybody that, I'll show you this, you guys. Anybody that, when we sign up a rescue, we have this package, and this package here. And this is one of the things we're talking about my company today, Healthy Paws Herbal Labs. And so we're just kind of diving into it. But this is like one of those things that's really cool that we came up with along the way. And it was kind of like, it's another way of giving back. How can we give back? How can we give back? And so I came up with this package, and it's this right here. And it's called the New Pet Parent Kit. And what comes in it is it comes with the No More Drama, and it comes in with the poo-poo problems. And so the No More Drama is for that cat or dog that maybe is going home for the first time, and it's going to be a new environment. Maybe they're a little stressed out about the drive home. Maybe they're going to be stressed out about the new environment. Maybe there's kids that they didn't get to meet yet. Who knows what the situation is? So you have the No More Drama. And then the poo-poo problems, of course, we've all heard this before, is so important to have, is that if you're bringing a pet home for the first time and you're changing their food, they may give you a supply of food to start that process. But you may be already feeding your other pets a different type of form of food. Maybe you're cooking for those pets, right? Or maybe you've got a different brand that you really like. So you may think, oh, let's just jump them onto this food. Well, likely they're going to get diarrhea. So that's why we call this a New Pet Parent Kit, because we've got the anxiety cover and we've also got the diarrhea cover. So if they've got diarrhea, you just give this to them a couple of times, and that will start firming up their poop and have hopefully an easier gradual introduction into their new furry family at home. So that's our New Pet Parent Kit. So the rescues we give. So at the end of the month, what we do is we gather up all our sales. And for each time someone buys one of our products off of our website, we create one of these. So at the end of the month, we divvy these up. We reach out to our rescues and say, how are you doing on your new pet parent kits? And they let us know. And then we'll ship them out a whole new box. And so every time a new pet gets adopted, they walk away with one of these. And it's just so special because, it's one more thing for the toolbox. And to start off your pet with something that, that works naturally and is organic and holistic, you can't go wrong with it. So that's our New Pet Parent Kit. So Susan and the Cat Crusaders, yeah, they got a bunch of these today. So it's really fun to do this. It's kind of like someone when we first started doing it, I didn't realize what I was doing at the time when I came up with the idea. They said, "Oh, you're like Tom's shoes."
Yes.
And I'm like, what's that about? And they're like, well, every time someone buys a pair of shoes, they actually give a pair of shoes to a kid in need, like in Africa or something like that. And I'm like, going, I like that. I like being compared to Tom's shoes, Yes. And so that's kind of where our day started. How did your day start? What was going on with your day, Jenny?
Well, Bombas Socks does that too, I believe. It's Bombas. I've been in Orlando and I've been speaking Spanish, so then I want to pronounce things in Spanish. So sorry. Yes, my English should be Bombas.
Bomba.
But they give away a pair of socks, I think, for everyone that's purchased as well. My day started in 43-degree weather that was rainy, watching my 3-year-old nephew play soccer.
I love that. Were you freezing?
Yes, because it was 79, I think, here yesterday or something ridiculous. And then it rained and then the temperature dropped. So I wasn't anticipating it being that chilly, but it was. So that's where it started. And then I went home and played with Magnetiles with him. And then I came home and Charlie and I went outside. And then I did a bunch of yard work, mowed my lawn. And then came inside, ate dinner, vacuumed, and hopped on with you.
Yay. I love it. Yeah, when you came on, you're like, I just vacuum. I'm like, are you vacuum up, please? Well, that's a good day. So you do a lot with your family, I see.
Yes, my entire family lives here, with the exception of my brother who lives in Utah. And yes, I see them a fair amount, which is good.
Nice.
I wanted, though, for the people on Floppycats that are watching this that don't really know you or know what you do, if you could kind of start from the beginning. Who are you? Why do you have Healthy Paws Herbal Labs? And all those sort of things.
All the fun stuff. Well, it all started, I'm a designer here in Los Angeles. I've been designing homes, events, weddings, restaurants for God, like 25 years now, 30 years. Oh my God, it just seems like so time just flies, right? And so being a designer, you find yourself in all different types of places. I have clients like, I've worked with people that are the 1%ers. They have all the money in the world, and it's crazy when you work with people like that because it's really another world. I mean, they called me up one time, this client, and said, "Hey, Michael, we're going to go look at planes, but be at our house at 6 a.m. tomorrow because you're going to pick out the plane for us." Right? I mean, and these are my stories, right? And so I'm like, what? They go, yeah, we've got, we got 5 appointments around California, and we're leaving Van Nuys Airport on our own private jet, and we're just going to go to fly to each one, and we're going to go test drive it, test fly it, and you're going to tell us which one you think we should buy. I'm like, why? They go, because you've got the eye, we don't. I mean, who knew? Who knew I'd be picking on a plane? But anyway, so I've been able to venture around in my life with design, and it's always brought me to new places. But one of the things happened was, like, I was at my office one day, and all of a sudden a girl, Melissa, called me up, and she says, she used to be one of my assistants. She says, Michael, she goes, I'm working with this company right now, and they're doing this big event. It's for a pet rescue, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to start. They don't know how to put a budget together. There's quite a few people on the board. They all have their own opinion. And I told them all about you. And I sat there and I said, well, what did you tell them? I told them they needed you. So, they would like to talk to you. And so I'm like, of course. And when it came to pets, it's like, I love pets. And I was like, of course I'll help them. And so I volunteered to do this event. And when I was there, and I'm like the guy that's over the top of my events. I'm like outside the box, way over the top. And it was really cute because a really cute side note on this story, and I always like to share this because it's part of life and how the universe works in my life, is that, so here my assistant calls me. They want to meet you. The next thing was like, they have an appointment tomorrow at this conference room. Can you be there? Everybody's going to be there, and they would like to meet you tomorrow. So it was like a matter of within 24 hours, I was going to meet this whole committee for this pet, fundraiser. And, I'm used to like big parties. So it's like, it didn't surprise me that they had so many people. I wasn't surprised because they told me it was a celebrity driven event and all that. And I'm like, okay. But the most beautiful thing happened, and this happens to me all the time, is that I went there, and it was a long conference table, probably like 15 people on one side, 15 people on the other side, a person at the end, and another person. So you had about, 17 people right there, right? Or 32 people right there. Okay. It was huge. It was this huge. Come to find out, it was the owner of the Rams at the time, LA Rams. It was his conference room that we were using. Who knew? Right. But I knew in a weird way, because I'll share this in a second, is that going back to those one percenters, one of my clients at one point owned the Rams, and they were one of my clients. And so, but I didn't put the two and two together yet. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at the end of this table, and I look and I'm like, Whitney? And this girl pops up. She goes, Michael? And I'm like, Whitney? Oh my God. She's like, Michael, oh my God. Next thing you know, we're jumping up, we're running down behind people, and we're giving each other a hug and a kiss and saying, oh my God. And I hadn't seen her. Let me stand up. I hadn't seen her since she was about this tall, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, how life is, and what a circle life is, how we're separated like 6 degrees or whatever they might say, but we're always separated by these incredible, conveniences of life to run into the same people over and over and over. And so, but her mom and dad happened to be one of those people that I worked with, those endless budgets. They were one of the Walmart people. And she's like, it's going to be at my mom and dad's house in Malibu. And I'm like, oh, well, it figures. Here I am, of course. And it was like 15 years, since I even saw the mom and dad and worked with mom and dad. So it was really kind of fun to be all of a sudden back in there. They told me about the event. It was called Paws for the Planet. And knowing that the property was in Malibu, I can only imagine what the property looked like, because I had not seen this property of theirs yet, because they had many properties, right? Well, it ended up being, this is another fun little note, is it ended up being the house that Dodi Fayed bought for Diana as a wedding gift. But then she got in the accident and that didn't happen. So they ended up buying the house. So just to kind of give you the scale and look of the house, right?
Yes.
So there I am. I designed the thing. I designed it like after Fifi and Romeo. That's a whole nother story. A lady who designs she was the designer on Legally Blonde for Reese Witherspoon. She designed the clothes and the dog carrier, and she became very famous for it. And she had the first dog carrier that was out there before everybody else did, right? So I designed it like her store, and I ended up doing this whole, and I go big, I don't go small, I go big. And this property was so big, you had to go big to make it look like anything, right? Because it had the beach access, you drove up, it had the house access, and you drove up, it had the bluff access. So you had 3 different levels, and you had hundreds of people coming to this party. So you want each level to be itself.
Yes.
So there I am. I designed the event. At the event, I start talking to people. I start talking to the pet parents. And the biggest thing I kept hearing, the same conversation I kept hearing was, God, I take my pet to the vet. It's Western medicine. I wish there was something natural, organic. And they would have these conversations thinking I would have the answers, because I knew everybody, doing the event. I knew all, I was the guy that knew the bathrooms are over there, the kitchen's there, all that. So, but it was odd because I kept having these conversations with people, and I'm like going, God, this is crazy. There's got to be someone out there with something better or something different, an organic solution. And so I thought to myself, I said, well, if I'm going to be doing these events for pets, maybe I'll find this person and I'll bring them into my event, and I'll introduce them to people as one of the vendors, and maybe they could share their product with people. Well, I looked, and this is back in 2005. So I looked, and I looked, and I looked, and I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything out there. And then in 2014, 15, Bravo called me and asked me to be on the Housewives with Lisa Vanderpump to launch her foundation that she started about saving the dogs from being eaten during the Yulon Festival over in China. And so Bravo called me and asked me if I would design the event, host the event with her, and just be part of the event for the housewives, that's a whole nother crazy life, but it's fun. And I love playing in it. But during the same thing happened is at the end of the event, I started talking to pet parents and they were all saying the same thing. They all would like have these great conversations about their pets. And all of a sudden when it came to their health or the wellness of their pet, and if something was going on, they instantly go, God, I wish there was another option. It's just these Band-Aids. Western medicine is just Band-Aids. And I'm like, yeah, that's basically what it is, right? And sure enough, it just kicked that fire underneath me again. I'm like, Michael, you got to find something. You got to find something. And that's when, just about when I started meeting Serge, and Serge came into my life and I brought him on the mission. He started looking with me. And that's when all the CBD stuff came along. Everybody was doing CBD for pets, CBD for pets, CBD for pets. And I was like, let me take a look at it. So we went to this event and we looked at all, there probably had like 25 to 50 different vendors with CBD. But every time I picked up one of their bottles and looked at the rest of their formulas, it was all the same stuff. It was the trendiest herb that's happening right now, or it was chamomile, or it was one of the top, relax, or melatonin. It was like one of those along with CBD. And I'm like going, wow. And then some of it had THC in it. And I didn't know the difference really at that point when I was looking at what the difference was with or without, like what would it do? Would it be harmful? Would it be good? Why would one have it? Why would one not have it? And so I kind of looked at it, but the problem with that for me was that I didn't find what I wanted, because I wanted something that worked for specific things that pet has, during their lifetime. They get yeast, they have pain, they have anxiety, they have allergy, they have constipation. And here you had this one little bottle of, that says it cures all. It'll be great for anxiety, be great for this, great for pain. And it wasn't what I was looking for. It's great for what it is. I believe in it. I think the cannabinoids are great for our system and for our pet system. What I've found out about the THC along the way is like, you really don't want to be giving your pet THC unless they're at the end of their life and they really need that extra drug, because that is a drug. And once again, I wanted something that wasn't full of drugs. So later that year, Vanderpump has this event in the park. And it was just to bring a bunch of vendors together. And of course, I was still kind of connected to them since I did the show that year for the Beverly Hills Housewives. They asked me to come see their event, maybe give them pointers. I was friends with their event people. So yeah, I'll go. I would like to see it anyways, to see who's there. I was checking out all the pet vendors. So sure enough, I'm there. And there's this little guy, Dr. Kyle, and he's sitting in this little tent. And he has I think he had 1, 2, 3 different formulas. He had calming, he had allergy, and he had pain. And I take off my hat and I'm like, what's this? And he goes, oh, it's Eastern Chinese medicine for pets. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, it's Eastern Chinese medicine for pets. I'm like, well, how long have you been doing this for? And he goes, well, and now we're like, this was new for him, because it was like in 2016, he had gone to go see his brother's dog in Las Vegas, and his brother's dog, and let me back up a second. Dr. Kyle's, he went to school to be an acupuncturist, a Chinese herbologist for his clients, okay, an Eastern healer. And so that's what he went to school and studied for. So he went to see his brother's dog, and when he went to see his brother's dog, Zoe was her name, and she was scratching and scratching and scratching. She had hot spots all over her body, and it was just like, he's like, what is going on with Zoe? What are you doing? And he's like, well, I've taken her to the vets. They've given me the steroids for over 1.5 years. They've given me the Abraquel. We've tried everything, and it works for a few weeks, and then it wears off, and she's back to square one again. Her hair hasn't grown back for over 1 year. And he goes, well, let me just try something for you. Let me just make something that I would make for my human patients for their allergies. And so he went back and he made a little bottle of allergy formula, sent it to his brother, and his brother called within a week and said, Kyle, he goes, I can't believe this. And Kyle was like, what's going on? He goes, Zoe stopped scratching. And Kyle goes, really? He goes, yeah, she hasn't stopped scratching in over a year, he said. He goes, this is crazy. He goes, well, let's just keep her on it, give it twice a day, and let's see how she does. And so a couple of weeks went by. He calls Kyle back up, and he goes, Kyle, her hair's starting to grow back in her hot spots. And Kyle's going, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, she hasn't had, I mean, she's been licking those spots forever, but she's letting the hair grow back now. And so that was the first awakening that Kyle had. And I always think, like, you know how I was talking about, like, here I was in this conference room and I ended up knowing the little girl, how the universe like creates these magical moments. Well, you know, I've been thinking about this since 2004, 2005 of like finding something for pets. And I've been putting it out in the universe, and I haven't found it. And I'm just like, please, God, just bring it to me. You know, we need to do this for pets. And so then he told me about the one for anxiety. He said that he had shared the information with his clients, and his client says, well, my little dog, she's a rescue and she's just as nervous as hell. She goes, can you do something for her? And he goes, well, let's try it. Made one for anxiety. Sure enough, she came back. She goes, Kyle, this is amazing. She goes, this is better than what the vet gives me. They give her trazodone and it takes away her motor skills and it knocks her out. And this doesn't take away her motor skills or knocks her out. And he goes, wow. And so they were excited. They were both excited. And Kyle's like, okay. He started to feel like he was onto something. And then another one of his clients says, what about pain? Can you do one for pain? So he made one for a lady with a German Shepherd that had hip dysplasia. And sure enough, she's like, oh my God, that's so much better than the gabapentin. You know, my doctor gives them gabapentin and they're wasted. So he kind of knew that he was onto something, but he didn't know what it was, but he definitely knew that it was something. And so there he was with his 3 little brown boxes. And I sat there and he said, well, I know who you are. You help a lot of rescues. Here's a box of it. Go take it to your rescues and see what you think. What do they think? And sure enough, I brought it to the rescues. Serge and I dispersed it through a month, several of them. And within, a week, we were getting phone calls. And people are like going, our rescues, this is a dream come true. This anxiety one, it's a game changer. And it was just kind of like, we just kept hearing this. And it was just like, so I went back to Kyle and I'm like, okay, I've talked to so many people with so many different formulas, some people that are, using just traditional herbs out of the United States, nothing historical. I've spoken to so many different people, but I said, out of everything that I've seen so far, I said, you're the person that I really think has what I've been looking for, and I would really like to figure out how we can do this. Do you want me to white label? How do you want me to do this? Do you want to work together? And he goes, well, I've been looking for a partner. And he goes, you'd be the perfect partner. He goes, your relationship with pets and people and rescues and all that. He goes, it seems like it's just right up your alley. And I said, well, the first thing we have to do is we have to update your packaging because you're missing a digit off of your telephone number on your packaging. And, and I always harass him on that. And so sure enough, we became partners, and then I just, redesigned everything. And at that time, once again, we only had the 3 formulas. And so we started working with his partner, who's a big time veterinarian, when they were here in LA. And we were just saying, okay, list us the top issues pets have. And so we went down, and so we created the issues, and we're like, okay, anxiety, pain, diarrhea, constipation, UTIs, GI issues, yeast, and I have all of them. Oh, and then one for their immune system, to boost their immune system, right? So that was like 9 of them, and we're like, okay, let's shoot for 9 of them. Kyle, can you make me 9 formulas? And Kyle's like, yeah, I can make you 9 formulas. And here he's gone back to school for pets and made sure that these formulas are not new formulas. These formulas are thousands of years old.
But then they're adapted to pets.
Right? Yeah, they're adapted to pets. Well, and when we say they're adapted to pets, what Kyle did was that he just made sure there was nothing inside of the herbs that would be dangerous for pets. So if there was any herbs inside the formulas that were existing that he worked with, he would make sure that he would remove those and replace them with something that was of equal value that did the exact same thing, so that it would balance out the recipe. But it's pretty much the same thing that the humans have been using for thousands and thousands of years. And we laugh, you and I laugh about this too. We always say it's tested on humans, made for pets, and that's really the thing with our formulas, is that it is all human grade, and there's no difference. This is like when Kyle has a client in his office and they have allergies, this is what he's giving them. It's nothing different than what we have. It's just the dosage may be different, maybe a powder form, it may come in a pill form, but it's basically the same thing. And, we've talked about it. It's like, I've been taking longevity, and there's got to be a way that I could change this, right? Where you can read it.
Yes.
Can
oh
you
yeah, I can read it now. Yeah.
Oh, you can read it? Because to me it's backwards. Okay,
well, maybe it's my dyslexia then.
Yeah, maybe, right? I always wonder that. But yeah, so I take this one every morning and night before I go to bed. I take this one, and then Serge has been taking. He had this little rash on his face. He had it for years since I've known him, and it's always been bugging him. And I was always giving him a hard time. It's this, that, whatever, right? And so he found out that it was some sort of candida, and then he's taken this one. He's taken this, and his face has never looked better.
Yes.
And it's like, and so it's like, once again, these are thousands and thousands of year-old recipes. This is what the Chinese have been using for themselves, for their livestock, for thousands of years. And now we get to do it for our pets. And when I first started this with Kyle, I didn't realize how much information I was going to learn or how much I was going to know about it. But like, one of the biggest things that we had in the very beginning, one of our hardest thing was people taking we were talking about paradigms, right? With Pam, and people have their paradigms that they grow up with, whether it's from their family or whether it's from their grandparents or their cousins, whoever it is, but they grow up with these interpretations and they live their life by these interpretations. So the biggest thing that we found is being able to take people's interpretation to say, you can use Eastern medicine just like you can use Western medicine for your pet. It's just a choice. Because a lot of people will go, what? Eastern medicine for my pet? I've never heard of it. Well, you've never heard of it because it's never really been done before. I mean, it's been done in these other, in different countries and all that at large scales, but it's never been brought to you like we make all this. Everything's handmade. We're like such a specialty. We're a boutique clinic basically for wellness for pets. And it's just been, for me, it's like when you look at one of these here, let me go here, and you look at all the different herbs that are in there. I mean, it's a lot of herbs. So then when you think about like that little bottle, like when I was talking about the CBD, when I was looking at those, it would be CBD oil and just a few things added. So, and each one of these herbs are not the same herbs you're going to find on this packaging. They're completely, there may be a couple that are crossovers, but in reality, they have their own group of herbs because they attack it a certain way. And so just for me, it's like, I never thought I'd be in the pet business, and that's why I have this channel, because I always like to hear what people's journeys are, which brings them into the pet world and how they found themselves here. And for me, it's like, there's no mistakes. The fact that I showed up in that conference room and Whitney's was sitting at the end of the table, I was like, okay, no mistake here. And then, one of the really coolest things that happened through this was after I had designed the event and did the event, I had designed it like that, like Yana's store. Her store was called Fifi and Romeo, and it was here in Beverly Hills. And like I said, she was the designer for Legally Blonde. She did Reese's clothes and the dog carrier and the dog clothes and all that. And so she designed all that. And it was such a big hit back in the 80s that, all the stars, Paris was there. They were buying it from her, and she created a whole line. So she created a store called Fifi and Romeo. And so I designed the whole store, since she was the whole event after Fifi and Romeo, because she was the sponsor. So I wanted to represent her brand. So it looked very French and very Parisian. And a week later, after I did the event, she came to me and she's like, Michael, she goes, we have a question for you. I'm like, what's the question? She goes, would you be interested in designing a store in Tokyo for us? And, you know, I've learned this years and years ago. Always say yes. Always say yes, because you don't know where you're going to end up. And there I was in Tokyo designing a store for, you know, for them in Tokyo. And that was a challenge in itself, because there they had to have in Tokyo, once they sign the lease on a place, the place has to be open within 30 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, what? You want me to design this in how fast? And I don't even speak your language? What? You know, and everything's in centimeters and not inches. I'm like, how am I going to do, you know? So I immediately got an assistant that can, you know, take inches to centimeters on a floor plan for me easily. And then then they gave me a translator that I worked with during the whole project, that I had my own translator. So it was a really fun, you know, project, but it just, you know, to be able to bring joy to pet parents and to bring this now what we have, and we'll go down the whole line here piece by piece, but to have something that works so well, that's organic, that's natural, that's not harmful for our pets, it's, you know, it's a gift. And I never thought I'd be doing something like this. I never thought, you know, and it was just all about the passion that I had during that first event of listening to those people just saying, I wish there was something different. I wish there was something different. And, you know, and now it's like people now are starting to like some of my, you know, I showed this the other day, I think, to everybody on there, but it's just one of my favorite pictures is this one lady is that she sent this just recently. And I know I showed this, but I have to show it. But I get these ladies like this here. She was like, I mean, how cute is this lady with her little dog?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just so beautiful to be able to get these messages from people saying, you've changed my pet's life.
Yes. Yeah.
You've changed our lives. And, you know, and it really is, it's a game changer. And it's just really being able to, you know, allow people to have a choice. And it's like, we say this with food all the time. It's like, we don't sit here and shame you for whatever you do with your pet or how you treat your pet, because you're doing the best you can and you're doing what you know what you can do, you know, right. But we are changing. The world is changing and there's new things that we can do for our pets. And, you know, this is just one of them. And it's just like my pet stores that sell our product, they love it. You know, our clients, they're on residual orders where they just get it shipped to them every month, you know, whatever, especially the golden years one. And so it's just like, just to make that difference is like, it's been a gift for me. It's been a real big gift. Yeah.
Yeah. So was it 2019 that Healthy Paws Herbal Labs was established?
Yeah. So we met Kyle in 2000, I think, 17, 18. And then we started 2019 is when we did our paperwork and started with all the paperwork with the company and all that and started forming the company. And then from there, it's like, okay, I had to design the labels. I had to like, you know, so it was a whole process. And so kind of like, which was interesting because of the pandemic, because like we were just getting ready to start to show our product and all of a sudden the pandemic hits. And we were able to get to Super Zoo for one show, which was great.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic. And, you know, we actually opened up, I think that first show, we opened up like 20 pet stores across the United States. And it's just, and from there, now it's just like, it just keeps growing. It just keeps growing, you know, and every time we make a sale, I'm just happy because I know we're helping another pet.
Yeah.
So it was that. And then after the pandemic, of course, that slowed us down a little bit, you know, like it did everybody. We had to like do everything from online at home and all that. And then, and now we're just, we get inquiries for, and we only go into independent pet stores. That's the one thing that we really, we had, and this was before I even knew to make the decision, I think, was that we were at that super zoo, the very first one, and the owner of a big chain here in California, it was it PetSmart? I think it was PetSmart. I think maybe they're nationwide now. I don't know. But they had, like, I don't know how many stores in there instantly that we want it. And I'm like, well, tell me about your stores. And I knew kind of PetSmart already. And I kind of knew that wasn't kind of the store that I thought we should be in, because we really want to be in the mom and pop stores, because they really care and they take the time, and we, to learn the product.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how. So I found out about Healthy Paw Herbal Labs from a friend of mine, Amy, that I met in a Facebook group for feline hyperesthesia. You've heard this story, but for those listening who haven't, so I was having trouble with Charlie last summer eating because he had a bacteria or parasite or something that affected his GI tract. But my vet was thinking it was his kidney disease. Anyway, Amy was using your digestion or eat, and she told me about it, and I went to your website and I was like, oh, well, this is fancy schmancy marketing. There's no way this stuff works. But Charlie is currently on 2 other Chinese herbs, one for kidneys and one for allergies. And so I wrote it off, and then something came up with Charlie again, and she suggested it again. And so I reached out to you, and we had a lovely conversation. And then you sent me Eat, Longevity, Constipation, Diarrhea, and Anxiety. No more drama. And I use a pendulum to test what supplements Charlie needs. And I think I had the supplements for like 2 or 3 weeks before the pendulum finally swung to constipation. And that was the very first one I tried. And I was like, oh, here we go. This could be really ugly. Where I'm imagining just a lot of cleanup on my part. And it was, as you said in another interview that we had, it was so smooth. Literally 2 hours later, he just went to the bathroom, nice, like formed feces that I could easily scoop and pick up. No harm, no foul for him, no harm, no foul for me. And he was relieved. And I was like, oh, this is great. So that made me less scared to try any others. I think diarrhea came next. And that was one of the fascinating things about the pendulum is I was like, diarrhea? He doesn't have diarrhea. I don't need to give him this. But I had forgotten that I'd given him a new food the night before. And sure enough, he ended up having diarrhea because I was like, I'm not giving him that. So then I gave it to him, which I should have proactively done. And it was firmed right up the next time he went. Then we went you had sent me Anxiety to try because he meows a lot in the car. So we had a chiropractic appointment, and Charlie's alter ego at the vet is Chucky. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give you this like an hour before, and then hopefully you'll be fine in the car. He meowed the whole way, and I was like, well, that didn't work, whatever. We get to the vet, and she's like, she's a chiropractor, so she feels his energy all the time. Her hands are on him. She knows how he moves, all that kind of stuff. She's the only chiropractor that's actually been very effective with him and really has command of him. And she's like, God, he's like really mellow today, Jenny. And I started laughing, and I was like, well, that's because I gave him this Chinese herb formula. And she just kept saying how relaxed he was. And I was like, well, I'm glad it worked for you. But you and I discussed this, and you think I should give it to him like 45 minutes or 30 minutes before?
Yeah, 30 minutes before, maybe 20. Yeah, because like it just depends on, because once it gets in their system, it's good like for 4 or 5 hours. Just depends on how fast their system's going. So the sooner you get it into them, if you end up, let's say traffic is a breeze and all of a sudden you make it there in 15 minutes, he'll already be ready for it. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
also, especially because like if he gets in the car and he gets a little nervous in the car, then that will even help him with the car ride.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so there's no harm giving it to him sooner, because that window is still such a small window that if you give it to him an hour before, you're still going to be within the window of that frame of him
Okay.
being affected by it.
That would be great. Okay, and then the fourth one was longevity that I tried, and longevity gave him like the best night's sleep, like just a very sound, good sleep, where you wake up and you're like, ah, that was the best night's sleep. So that has been really, really nice as well. And then finally I tried Eat. It swung to it, and it's actually been swinging to it. He's had it for like 4 or 5 days in a row recently. And for him, I'm starting to think that it's less about getting him to eat, but like literally aligning his digestive system so that it works properly. And that has been really fascinating. The whole pendulum thing has like opened my mind up to like, maybe it's not about getting him to eat, even though, yes, that's a benefit of the product, but maybe it's, helping with digestive enzymes and probiotic. I don't know. I have less interest in that kind of stuff to like really want to dig into why, but it's fascinating how it all works. And then lastly, I had anxiety one day, and I was like, I'm sick of this anxiety. I get out of my body. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go try some of that anxiety from Healthy Paws Herbal Labs. And I I think it was like 2 minutes. And I was like, what? Dang. I mean, I like the anxiety was gone, and then I wrote you and told you about it, and you're like, you should try it some night before you go to bed. And I have done that, and that is fantastic. Like it's good sleep.
It's amazing how it worked. We had a lady, that one of our earlier clients, that was she had Lyme's disease and she was in a wheelchair, and she was very wealthy. She had her own jet. Once again, another one of these ladies, right? She's flying around in her own jet, and her dog was her service dog, and her vet gave her gabapentin to give to him. Well, the biggest problem she had is every time they would land, she was more of his service person than he was her service person, because he was still so knocked out by all the drugs. And that's what's really, really beautiful about, all of the formulas, is that they don't have any narcotics. There's nothing in here. So like when we're talking about like with Charlie and that really good night's sleep of like taking Forever Young and all that, I have the same thing. It's like, it's really interesting because like you and I were kind of discovering this at the same time with the Forever Young. For me, even, it's like when I take Forever Young at night, it's like, and on top of the No More Drama, if I do that too, if I really have a hard night, and then I know that it's going to be a hard night for me to sleep, but it's like when I sleep, it's like there's no like there's like no hangover feeling.
No, it's like a really good night's sleep. Yes, and that's exactly right. I've given my cats, one is dead, as you know, but gabapentin, and the vet required it in order to see the cats. Not a current vet, but an old vet. Gave it an hour before, came downstairs, and they were flat as pancakes on the living room rug. And it wasn't that like they were filled with anxiety because they couldn't understand why their limbs weren't working, but they looked like they were calm. But I'm the kind of person that really relies on my humans and my cat's eyes to know what's going on. Not that I own humans, but my people. So I always, like, I really don't like gabapentin for my pets because I saw the terror in their eyes. Like, why can't I move? Like, I still have the anxiety, and it's not like that at all. And Krista, I guess, should we address this?
Oh yeah, she was like, I didn't get what Krista. What were you talking about? Give her half of a gravel. What's a gravel?
I don't know what a gravel is either. I think that might be an autocorrect.
Yeah, can you give us a update on that one, Krista? Because I was like half of gravel. Um, yeah, and then that's kind of like the funny thing about our formulas is like, we don't advertise that it's for humans. We don't advertise, but it's human grade, and it's like, and we take it, and it's like, when I get sick, if something, a gravel pill, I don't even know what that is.
I don't either. Is that a drug? I kind
I'm
of
gonna
want to
look.
Google it.
Yeah, can you Google it really quick?
Yeah. Oh yeah, gravel for anxiety. Oh no, that doesn't make. This talks about anxiety experienced while riding on a gravel road or trails, and perhaps anxiety of to deal with gravel in general. No, that's not right.
No, I have it here, but it's Dramamine. So you're dealing with it is a Western medicine, hun, Krista. So no more drama would definitely be better for your pet than the gravel. And
Is
that
Krista Canadian? Because it sounds like Scooter said they don't have gravel brand there.
Scooter mom. Krista, I believe I met Krista in LA here. I don't know if she's Canadian. Um, yeah, she's got a horse in her picture, so it kind of even like you're thinking about riding in Canada, right? Oh yeah, then she is.
Yes, yeah.
Oh yay, nice, nice,
Interesting.
yay. Okay, yeah. So yeah, and I think you were asking it. Someone was asking about can we get a store in Canada? We are, just so you guys know, business. How's that? Did that answer your question? Um, for us to get this into every country, and we're working on it, it's not as easy as like we think it would be. There's so much paperwork that we have to do. There's probably companies there that are selling stuff that they shouldn't be selling there because they're doing it not the legal way to do it. And I had a store one time said, well, we have a store on the other side of the border that we actually go and have everything shipped there, and we can just pick it up there and then deliver it to, bring it across the board. And it's like, no, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it the right way, because, Canada's waiting for us. Italy's waiting for us. The UK's waiting for us. Mexico's waiting for us. So when we do this, we're going to do it the right way. And it's taken some time, and it's going to, and I don't know, I always keep saying, oh, the first of this year. And I see that it's not going to be the first of this year. It's probably going to be maybe the second half of this year that we're going to be able to do it, because it's not just like, it's about certificates, getting everything from each country. Each country wants to do their own certificate on these, because it's a tincture. Even though it's just dry, it's just herbs. It's just, and we think a lot of it too, it has to do with the fact, because we are first to market with what we're doing. So they don't like, even like when we, like for Instagram, like, or TikTok, I wanted to set up a TikTok shop for my product. They won't let me set up a TikTok shop because they don't know the product, and they don't have a category for the product. So there's not a product that I could put this in that makes sense, that it attaches to. So because they don't have a product, they won't let me put it on TikTok. So there's a lot of stuff we're still getting through, technicalities, like even like with the UK, and then from there, it's all about customs and forms and all that. So we do want it across the border, Krista, and it's going to be there soon, but I can't promise you anything sooner. I always recommend to people that if you have family coming over here to the States, or are going to be in California or anywhere that they could buy it here and bring it to you, I have a lot of people doing that. And then I do also, and I don't recommend this necessarily all the time, but I do have where people will go through the expense and pay for it. And if it gets stuck at customs, it gets stuck at custom, and they just eat it, and they don't worry about it. But if you do that route, I do say make sure you buy more than just one, so that you have a stock of it. Canada, I don't think is going to be as hard as some other countries, but it's still a process. So we would love to be there. We will be there. It's just a matter of time. That's all. Yeah.
Did you see Karma Charms kittens?
Oh, I didn't see that one. Here's the.
So yeah, that one.
Okay, so what I want you to do, Karma, is go to our website. Okay, go here. Okay, and go to our website, and halfway down the page, you will see not sure what to do with your pet. Make a free consultation with our doctor, and you can actually make an appointment with Dr. Kyle, and he'll walk you through some questions, and he'll be able to direct you into maybe a different way of looking at it or what might be going on. He's our doctor. So when it gets to these more complicated cases like this, where you've had it looked at, make an appointment with him. It's absolutely free. It's complimentary. So take advantage of it. And then that way we can get you taken care of one way or another. And we have had where people have animals going through unique situations that are not part of our top 9 formulas, and we do custom formulas for pets that are going through odd things. So we do custom things, and if it's a custom formula, sometimes people think custom formulas are going to be so much money. It's not necessarily true. It just depends on the herbs that are going to be inside that formula. So herbs in general, our herbs are expensive because they're all organic and holistic and third-party tested, blah blah blah. But we can do a custom one too. So know that you have that. I wanted to, if you guys want, let me just do this. I want to just kind of like, so I just wanted to go through each one of our formulas really quick so that people have this information. So anxiety, this is great. We sell out like during 4th of July. People forget about 4th of July. 4th of July, this is a savior. You want this for 4th of July. If you live in one of those neighborhoods like we do in LA here, 4th of July doesn't start on the 4th. It starts in June and ends up finishing at the end of 4th of July, at the end of July. So we have fireworks all month long, and they're in our alley, they're on our street. So this is great for pets with 4th of July issues, sound issues, ones that we sell these here. I'll show you this here. This is.
Are those tubes that you have, do they have product in them? Because I want people to see the syringe too.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I'm showing you, so this is what we sell in our stores. So our stores has a display, and these fit into the display. Inside here is exactly what you get when you order online, is you get this. So this is what's inside. This is exactly what everybody gets. So you guys get this when you order online. And it's all with a syringe, and on the syringe you can see the different meters, milliliters of what to give, and it's all based on your pet's weight. So if you have a small pet, this is going to last you a long time. If you have a big pet, it's going to last you a shorter period of time. So when you go to order, make sure you order the appropriate amount. And when I say that, I'm going to jump to another formula really quick. I say that mostly because this formula here, this is our yucky fungus. It's for yeast. Okay. And so this is for yeast. This here is a minimum of 30 days. We've seen people where they'll buy this, and within 2 weeks, they see such a big transformation in the yeast inside their pet. They're like, oh, they're better. They're healed. And they're like, yay, it's gone. It's not gone. Okay. Warning, 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 warning. It's like, think of it like athlete's foot or toenail fungus. You could sit there and you have to stay on top of that stuff for us. Like if you have athlete's foot, if you don't stay on top of it and you think the moment that it's done, you're going to take that one shower, you're going to walk away and walk down that carpet for a second. You're like, damn it, it's back already. Minimum 1 month. And if your pet has really, really bad yeast, and people are like, well, how do I know if my pet has yeast? One of the easiest ways to find out if your pet has yeast is smell the ears. If the ears smell like corn chip, I don't know whoever came up with this idea, but it does. But it smells like corn chips. It's likely yeast. You can smell in between their paws. That will smell like yeast. You can smell underneath their armpit. So anywhere there's moisture that can collect, moisture, you're going to be able to smell that smell. And that's going to tell you that they have yeast. The fact that you even think that they have yeast is likely that you know that they have yeast. The thing is if they have really, really bad yeast, we want you to team it up with itchy scratchy. Okay, these two, I call them like Batman and Robin. These two together are your crusaders, and they're here, they're going to fight together. So if you have a bigger dog, the best thing for you to do is don't double up on this. Be sure that you go with the crusaders together and you get the itchy scratchy and you get the yucky fungus together, because that will allow you to do half of this and half of this, and it'll take you longer through the month, and you'll end up carrying you further through the process. If your pet has really bad yeast, sometimes it takes a few months to get rid of it. Think about like a toenail fungus. How long does it take to get rid of a toenail fungus? It's almost impossible sometimes. Once we get rid of the yeast, we don't get rid of our formula just yet. We have you do a maintenance with the itchy scratchy, because that's going to keep them in alignment with their yeast. Because a lot of times yeast is developed, a lot of it goes because it's unchecked allergy and they've got so much going on, their body's so off. This will help keep the allergens down, which helps fight the yeast somehow. Once again, I'm not the doctor here. I just know that this stuff works, and the way it works is incredible, but you have to follow our protocol. So these guys right here are Batman and Robin together. Yeast, our itchy scratchy, and our yucky funky. Look who it is. It's Charlie. Oh
He
my
finally
God.
came. He finally showed up.
Charlie.
On time.
Look at him. Oh my God. He's so beautiful. Where's your little eyes, mister? I can't see your eyes there.
I know. I don't know. He's
I can see him there. Oh my God. He's so cute. Yeah. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, look, and I am wearing my cat love hat. I have one for dogs and I have one for a cat. So this one's for Charlie. Okay.
That's great. Sorry, we got a tail, but that's it.
That's okay. A lot of people, like Chris said, I thought yeast is from food. Yeast is from everything. It's where your gut is. It's coming from your gut. And if your gut's really out of alignment, there's so many different ways pets can get yeast, but usually it's because their system's out of whack. And that's where what Krista was talking about earlier is our EAT formula. And this is our EAT formula here, you guys. And this one here, and this one has like a little sad story I'll share with people. And you need to know this as well, is like, so this is our EAT formula. This balances out the GI system, because, if we're feeding our pet the same thing every single day, they're not getting enough nutrition from multiple locations in food. They're just getting one nutrition. Their gut is way off, and we want to keep them as healthy as possible. So we always talk about food on our channel, and our to have like home cooked food is the best thing we could do for our pets. But for outside of that, we have our EAT formula, and this helps balance out their system and get their system, because the number one goal is just like for us, if we have a system that's running really well, we're not going to be getting sick. We're not going to have to go see the doctor as often. We're going to be doing pretty good. And it's because of what we're putting inside of our system. He's so cute. Look at him. Hi, Charlie.
He's hungry.
Oh, is that what it is? He's like, Mom, it's time. So it's really important that your system's running. And that's why, like, we even say for our pets that are in their, do I have one out yet? So our pets that are in their golden years, we want you to get them on longevity. And people think I'm crazy. They're like, what? My pet's like 15 years. My pet's 15 years. It's going to be 3 more years. He's going to live. Why would I be doing this for 3 years? This is going to be the best gift you could give your pet for the last 3 years of their life. I did want to say this to people. Okay. And this is something I see all the time. One of the things, one of the signs when we see our pet is in their golden years and we see something's going on and we see that they're getting ready to transition. One of the first common signs that our pet is about to transition is they'll slow down eating. They'll almost stop eating, and I share this all the time with people. I get people all the time, they'll buy this, so if you have a pet in their golden years, and you're giving them the longevity one, get them the EAT one. So you have this on hand, because once they start slowing down eating, you want to make their gut as healthy as possible. So whatever they're eating, they're getting as much nutrition out of that food. If their gut's all over the place, they're not getting that much nutrition. So have this on hand. I've had people that they'll buy this, and by the time it gets to them, and they'll pay like overnight shipping, which is ridiculous. By the time they get this, their pet has passed away. So people reach to this at the last minute. So don't wait for the last minute. What my goal here is for you guys, for all pet owners, is to build a toolbox that has tools there that you have at home when you need them. Just like we're talking about our diarrhea one. Like when diarrhea hits, you don't want to be running around to see if you have pumpkin in your cabinet by chance, like who has pumpkin in their cabinet. You know, you don't want to run around and look for something that you have home that you have at home. If your pet or dog or cat has diarrhea, you want to be able to go right to your toolbox and say, oh, I've got poo-poo problems. Guess what? We're not going to have diarrhea very long, are we? You know, so it just preps us to help our pets live a healthier, happier life. So I stopped at, we started at No More Drama. So once again, this is great. Another one this is really good for, people don't understand this, is like we sell just this. And this here, I designed this. This is called our travel size. And so the reason why I did this is because everybody was paranoid that their bottle was going to be too big at the airport. They were going to get pulled over. Oh, you're bringing in drugs or whatever. And it's still underneath the weight, but they still, you know, they panic a little bit. So we created this. And what's inside here, this is a pre-filled syringe that's 3 milliliters. Okay. So once again, when we talk about milliliters, think about your dog's weight. The bigger your dog is, the more you're going to need. So just be prepared. Buy 2 of these. If your dog is over 50 pounds, be sure you have 2 of these. Are you taking a 2-way trip? Are you going on a plane there and a plane back, and you need it for the way back? Be sure to get this for the way back as well. But anyway, so this comes pre-filled. So this is called our travel pack. But what we didn't realize is this is going to become our groomer's favorite product. We sell these in bagfuls to groomers because what they do is they turn around and they sell it to their pets that have anxiety when they get groomed. And I never knew this, and I laugh at this, but I feel good, okay, saying this nowadays, is that groomers have these pets which they call shitters. And what that means, I'm like, what's a shitter? They're like, oh my God. And everybody's like, oh, you don't know what a shitter is? Let me tell you what a shitter is, right? And I'm like, well, what's a shitter, right? And what it is, like, they'll sit there and think about like these little tiny little poofy little dogs that their hair is really long that you have to like blow dry forever. Well, they get so nervous getting groomed that halfway through it, they shit themselves and they have to start all over again. And the groomers just hate it. Well, this is why they love this, because those shitters have gone down, you know, I don't know what like if it was like, you know, 50% of the dogs were shitters, maybe they're down to 10%, you know, but seriously, to have to start all over. Even a lady was telling me about her cat today was a shitter, you know. Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't hear that. She goes, yeah, like, I get phone calls all the time. And they're like, oh, she's shit again. She's going to be another half hour, you know. So we sell these for not just necessarily the travel size, but this is our groomers package. And then our groomers get this and they have a big bottle of this at their office. But this is great for grooming, for going to the vet, if they're getting their nails done, anything that the dog gets nervous about, or if you have a pandemic puppy that's from the pandemic and they're still attached to you and you have to go on vacation or you have to go to work or something like that and leave them at home, give this before you leave. Let them have a chill home a chill time at home while you're gone. This is, you know, this is magic for them. So that's our No More Drama. And another thing it helps with is like, you know, dogs that are having like chronic seizures or cats that are having chronic seizures and things like that there's something inside the herbs that helps reduce that. We can't say that we cure it or do anything like that. We never can say we cure anything, but we assist in helping reduce these issues that pets have. The other good thing about the No More Drama, when I said that, what was that, we got that. Let me see, make sure I got everything else here. I think we're good. We're No More Drama, right? The other thing is like what I didn't realize I was going to do, you guys, and this is kind of just letting you in on my business and how it's growing and, how we're doing here, is that this here, our new pet parent kit that goes to our rescue programs, this is actually now going to be the pet parent kit that hotels are going to be giving away in their baskets when people are coming in and checking in with pets, so that they have this there for the pet, for the anxiety for the hotel, or if they get in the wrong food. And hotels are waiting for us to launch that program.
Very cool. And a great way to expose people to your products.
Yeah, it just, and that's my thing, is like, anytime I could do something like this, and thank you for asking me to be here and do this with you. Anytime I could do something like this to actually just let people know that we're here, that's all I care about right now. The more people know that we're here, that we're available, it's, it makes my day, because it makes me know that I'm doing the right thing that my heart was set out to do.
Yes.
I never thought I was going to be in the pet business, and here I'm in the pet business, and and I love what I do. I love being able to help pets. I mean, it's Sunday and I'm setting up a pet rescue, and Serge is like going, "What? Well, don't we get a day off?" And I'm like, "No day off for me. We got to do this now," But it's okay, because I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. So,
and I would not have asked you to be here if I hadn't have had personal experience. Not only my personal experience, but also Charlie's. I mean, literally, these have helped me so much. And when I reached out to you wanting just the digestion eat to try, never ever did I think it would lead to this. But
and this is me, and I remember our conversation. It was like so cute, because like you're like going, "Yeah, I have floppy cats. I would like to talk about your product." And I'm like, and I said, the number one thing, let's take care of Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make sure Charlie.
Here's that integrity.
Right? I mean, my friends are like, "Michael, sell yours." I'm like, you know what? I walk around with a bag of this in my car every time I go somewhere, so that if I run into somebody and somebody's going, someone's pet's having a problem, or they're going through issues, or I'm like, let me give you a gift. Let me give you something that's going to help you and your pet. And people are like, they're like, really? And it's like, I was at a party recently, and all of a sudden the dog was just running around playing with another dog, and he was an older dog, and he had like a moment where he had a seizure, and he started like spazzing out because he was moving too fast for himself, And so I ran down to the car, and I got our No More Drama out, and I brought it up, and I gave, and the thing which is nice, and people always think this, okay, is that we recommend, on the side of our packaging, we have a suggested dosage. So whether your dog's 15 pound, you get this much. If it's this much, we suggest to do this. The magic behind the herbs is like, there's nothing toxic about the herbs. They're all natural. They're all organic. So if, like, this dog was going through a procedure, he was going through some seizures, and he was just like, he was shaking, and I was like, okay, let's just get him out of the space. Let's get him in a quiet room. Let's give him this. And normally he was going to get only about like up to there. So that's like 0.5, this dog. I boosted it twice, so he got twice as much, so that it acted faster for him in that emergency. Because when they're in an emergency situation, everything's at a heightened level. So to be able to reach that heightened level, we've got to match that heightened level. Because if they're just every day down here, we don't need to do that. But when they're in that panic mode, we do the exact same thing. So I increased it, and within 15 minutes, the dog was like, he was breathing back to normal. He wasn't panting. We were able to put him down on the ground. He started visiting with all the people again, and it was just so beautiful to be able to have this. So I do carry this stuff wherever I go, and I am like, I feel like a little puppy pusher in drugs. I'm like, okay, what drug do you need today? But no, it's really been a really wonderful thing. And I think the other thing, I know we've kind of gone through almost everything. The last two formulas that we haven't gone through are 3. Constipation, pretty direct, is if your pet has a backup. And people are like, well, why would, what would cause that? Well, things that cause backups is when you change their food and they don't like their food, they're on protest or something like that, or, that's causing a backup, or maybe they're on a medication that's new to their system that the vet's given them. Maybe that's causing a backup, especially, like if they're on some sort of major pain pill that has a narcotic in it, that's going to cause a backup. So there's many things that cause backups. So this will help loosen their stool. And then we have people that, with IBS, we have pets with IBS, and so there's things that this will help, it'll just keep the stool soft and it's just easy for them. And then the other one is pee-pee issues. And this is a really interesting one here for cats. And people are like,
can I interrupt on the constipation?
Yes.
When you were flowing, you said it will loosen the stool, but for me, it was that it moved the stool.
Yes.
Yeah. I was worried about diarrhea, but it did not cause diarrhea. It just moved it.
Yeah, it softens it up so that it basically unsticks it almost,
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't say, okay, we're going to do the reverse now that she's got, constipation. We're going to give her the runs.
That's what I was scared of, was fire, ASS. Yes. So,
yeah, right.
Anyway, yes.
They're like, oh, that's a marketing tool. They're going to have us buy this one, and then they're going to have us buy poo-poo problems so that we go back and forth. No, not at all. Yeah, no, it's actually, it helps immensely.
Yes, and a kidney cat, I don't know about kidney dogs, but a kidney cat can get constipated often, and I have a kidney cat, so.
Yeah, and their intestines are so short, everything's so tiny on them. It's like it doesn't have all that thing. Going back to kitty cats, we're talking this one right here, the UTI here, this UTI stones. Pets that get kidney stones, their bladders and their body parts are so little and so thin that they can't go, like with us as humans, we're big enough where they could go and they could zap these things out of us if we get them. If we get a kidney stone, God forbid, I have never had one, thank you. They can actually go in and zap them out of us, but in the pets they can't, because it'll blow their bladders apart. It'll blow their intestines apart. They just don't have the equipment to do it. So with the herbs in here, somehow it slowly dissolves them, so they're able to pass them at some point. So this is like a little game changers, and we don't. I will say this is our least selling one. Thank God that a lot of cats don't have, these issues. But this is our least selling one. But when we do sell it, the comments that we get from people, they're like, and this is one I hear a lot, unfortunately, is that my doctor suggested we euthanize my pet, because they have this issue. And I'm like, no, that's not what we do here. We're here to help. That's our goals. We really want to help. And then one last one that we haven't talked about is, there's this one. And let me grab one more. Hold on, guys. Be right back.
I guess I should entertain you guys while he's gone. Luckily, I've never had UTIs. A UTI in a male cat can kill them because it can cause a blockage.
Yeah. This is one that we sell out of a lot of. The moment we make it, it's so hard to make. This is called Itchy Scratchy Topical Balm. So when we were talking earlier about pets with hot spots, that's what this is for.
What's the base of the balm?
It's got a lot of the same herbs. It's actually like, it's like a waxy base. It's just like a balm, kind of like a chapstick.
Okay.
And it just kind of like greases. You don't need a lot. You just put it on, and it's built with a lot of the same stuff that's inside the allergy formula to help with the histamine inside the scratching and all that, to take that away. But this one here is actually amazing. And we just got 25 of them. And to make 25 of them it's so hard to make this stuff. I don't know why, because it has to sit for so long. It has to go through all these different tests. So we have that one. And then the new ones that we just got, and just to kind of show you like what we were talking about, getting our product in different countries and all that, we've been working on this one now for 2 years now, just to share with you guys, is like, we have a client that's in the East Coast and she has a pet store, and she called us up one day and she said, Michael, she goes, I need something for my horses. And we're like, oh, we don't do anything for horses at this point. They're like, well, no, I definitely need something. She goes, I won't hold you to it. What's so we said, what's going on with your horse? She goes, well, my horse has anxiety. One horse has anxiety and the other one's old and has got joint issues, pain, And so we're like, okay, so let's start with anxiety. So we made this guy here, and this is
a horse size anxiety.
A horse size anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And this is a dry powder, and they just take a scoop of it and they put it in their food. And once again, it's like the comment that she gave us. She says, Michael, she goes, I've had my horse for like, I forget how, like 10 years or something like that. And she goes, I've never had a relationship like I have with my horse today.
Aww.
She goes, because the horse has always had like this barn fright, the noises inside the barn, the wind or whatever. She goes, now the horse just looks for me and just so excited to see me, and just like, how beautiful it is to be able just like to have that, and just, so we did that one. So we get to add, so this one will be being added to our website soon. And then the one for pain will be added. But this, seriously, you think since we had all the other ones done, it'd be that easy just to get this one onto our website. It's taken over a year for us to get through the approval process and all the insurance and everything to be able to put this on the website. So just to kind of give you guys an idea about like why it's taken us so long to get to other countries. We could do it, but it wouldn't be legit. And I'm all about, I'm just really a stickler for integrity and just doing things the right way. Because then if they're done the right way, then they're going to be done the right way. And you're not having to work around things all the time. And I'd rather wait the time and just do it when the time's right. And we'll get it there when it's right. So that's kind of like, overall, that's been kind of like my whole experience with just finding it's like I was saying earlier, it's like here I was on this mission since like 2004, 2005, looking for something for pets. And meanwhile, Kyle's over here going to school. He's becoming a doctor. He starts working with his patient. And then in 16, he happens to have this issue with his brother. And it was kind of like the universe was like working on Kyle over here, working on me over here, and just slowly brought us together. And, between Kyle, Serge, and I, we just have created this most incredible company. And we're helping pets everywhere. And that's the magic, is when you do things out of integrity and you do things out of love and care, it's going to be a great company. We have investors trying to buy us, and we're not for sale, because the moment that you sell your company, investors like to rip it apart and do everything cheap. So that's one thing that we for ourselves has, agreed upon, is that we will never sell our company, unless we find the right person to sell it to that's in the game, like we're in the game. But yeah, no, everything is, all our formulas are compounded formulas. They're all organic. They're all natural. And so it's just like, we're pretty lucky to be where we are in the world right now with our product, because to be able to be first to market with something that works as well as our product does, it's just been a game changer for us. And it's been a game changer for the pets.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't doubt it based on the results I've seen with Charlie and with myself. Krista asked, is there other than powder for horses? And I did wonder, why can't you just give the horses liquid?
You'd probably have to have a big syringe, and to get that syringe in their mouth at the right time and be able to squish that syringe at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mechanical things like that. So it just worked out. The powder was well, and the powder is less expensive than the liquid. So like, I don't know what our price is going to be online for this, but this is a lot of formula here, and if this was in liquid, this right here would be probably like 3 gallons.
Okay.
So yeah, go on.
Krista said that her horses share food. So I don't really know a lot about horses, but could you just do like a treat bucket with the herbs, or
Yeah, you could do something like that. You could even like if you're your horse likes a certain type of treat or something like that, you can sneak. It's not that much that you have to put in there. So just to give you an idea on the back, um, if a dog has severe anxiety, you want to give them 5 of these little spoons. And seriously, the little spoons are little half teaspoons. So you're basically only giving like 2.5 teaspoons on their food. So it's really not that difficult.
Yeah.
And you could like squeeze this inside of some sort of treat potentially.
Yes. Scooter asked, have you considered working with Chinese herbalists in Canada? I wonder if it would be easier to get in through them. Scooter really wants you in Canada.
I know, Scooter, we're working on it. Scooter, all our recipes are, are owned by us. And we've looked at working with other people at times. And Dr. Kyle has done such incredible work in designing our formulas that we've seen where they're like, well, why don't we add this? And why don't we add this? You know what? We only want one chef in our kitchen, and that's going to be Dr. Kyle at this point. We really trust in him, what he's put together for us. There's nothing wrong with what we've done. There's everything. He's been so spot on with it. And it wouldn't be just working with that, Scooter. It would also be, the packaging, and it's basically us setting up a company there. So I know you really want us there, Scooter. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out a way we can get there. I know there's a couple of pet stores that would love us to be there. So, it could happen soon.
Yes, and I don't know much about the Canadian-US border, but aren't there you could ship to whatever city in the US is closest to, I assume you're in Toronto since it says it on your profile, but and then just drive and get it?
Well, that's what some people will do that. In fact, what I've learned is a lot of people that live in Canada that use our formula in Canada, they actually have a post office box on the US side,
yeah.
exactly for this reason, because if they order it in Canada, it's so much more money than if they ordered it in the States and just drive over and pick it up. So, that's the only other thing. I mean, we could always try to get it to you. I have shipped it to Canada, and I've had both. I've had one, they received it, no problem. And I had another, it just got stuck in customs. So it's that gamble of it. What's going on? What would you need, Scooter?
Is Scooter the one with the UTI, or is that Krista?
I think Krista. Yeah, right. Scooter, right? What formula would you need? Like, I'm always down to look at different options. Like, I did have someone that I shipped some longevity to in Italy, and I had to personally take it to FedEx and fill out a bunch of you need the no. Oh, you are desperate. No, that is desperate. I hear you, Scooter. Yeah, no. And seriously, there's not much out on the market that really gets rid of yeast like our formula. There's Band-Aids that the vet will give you, but yeast is a tricky one. And the fact that our formula works so well, it's our number one formula.
Scooter, I would also highly look at diet, because if you're feeding kibble at all, that's going to cause yeast.
Yeah, what are you feeding? What are you feeding Biscuit? Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is like, if we really clean up our system, we wouldn't need all this help. But unfortunately, we've got all this shit in our environment and in our food that we don't even know that's in our food half the time. It's just like, when we start to understand what's in our food, we're like, what is this? It's like, I love the whole salt thing, by the way.
What salt thing?
Didn't you tell me, was it you or Pam that said this, or was it Pam that said salt, look after salt? Maybe it was Pam.
Yeah.
We were talking about ingredients, like when you're looking at food, and when it says salt, anything after that, you want to, that's what you have to be aware of.
Oh,
did you know?
No.
This is interesting, right? Yeah. So when you're looking when you're looking at a label on side of a dog food package, and you read and read and read, and it says salt is usually the last natural ingredients that is inside of pet food. and anything after is usually chemicals or faux chemicals or or faux nutrition, and
Gosh.
so that's what you have to be worried about.
God, if I saw salt on a cat food can, I'd just be like, "What?"
I know.
But
Yeah,
I need to start looking at that.
yeah, that would be interesting. It could be just a little bit, but it is interesting.
Yes. Origin kitten food. He's 7 months old. So is that Origin kibble or is it wet food? Gosh, he's 7 months old and he already has.
The yeast,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there's. It sounds like, yeah. Let's. How much I would love to sell you our formula, but I think that we might be able to help you by you maybe looking at the diet, like Jenny's talking about.
Mm.
He came with the ear problem.
Wait, did you rescue him? I think you told me that you or somebody said they rescued. Maybe it was Krista. So kittens get the microbiome of their mom. So if the mom was fed dry food at a rescue, which they usually are because it's true, it's cheap. It's dry food and we add water. Yeah.
There
Just
you have
remove,
it.
if you can remove the dry food is not your friend. It will cause diabetes, UTIs, kidney disease. I fed it to Charlie. That's one of the reasons he has kidney disease. Um, the dry food is your culprit for the yeast.
Yeah, your dry food's your number one pointer. So Scooter, let's do this. Let's make a plan for you to pivot your food for your pet. Okay. Sometimes I know people will sit there and say, well, the kibble's so inexpensive. Well, you just said your kitten's like how many months old?
7.
7 months old. So you don't want to be feeding your cat kibble for the rest of their life, because you may think you're saving money right now, but in the long run, health wise, you're going to be spending so much more money on, if you're not already spending more money, because I don't know if you've gone back and forth to the vet trying to fix his ears already, but I guarantee you, if you really start to think about giving him a really balanced food or her a balanced food that's not a kibble, you may find that that yeast will disappear on its own.
Yeah, and even better than wet food is raw. And kittens usually will take to it really quickly.
Yeah, that's the best thing you could do for your cat. Yeah, definitely. And we had this last Tuesday. We did live on this subject, which drives me nuts, is that when you go to the vet and the vet tries to sell you this prescription food, note there is no prescriptions whatsoever in any prescribed food from the vet. It's all a marketing plan for you to buy that food. Now, is the food supposedly designed for specific issues? Likely, but it's not a prescription food. Don't be fooled by it, and don't spend extra money when you don't have to spend money. I'd rather see you do a raw food diet for your cat.
Yeah, Scooter, actually, when I went into, first of all, a raw diet, you can actually make at home. You can buy a completer online and just add boneless meat, but you can also like buy 80-10-10 meat, which is 80% muscle meat, 10% organ, 10% bone, and then buy a completer to do that. And it is, when I went into a independent pet store here, they told me this is the order of how expensive cat foods are. Dry food is the cheapest, then raw, then canned cat food, and then freeze dried raw. So actually, raw is, well, one of the reasons why is because you feed less because it has all the nutrients they need and not a bunch of fillers. So, and then, I mean, everything works more properly because that's what they should be eating. So you'll be surprised that you won't have to be buying supplements to get rid of yeast, but it's not going to get rid of it because you're still feeding it all the time. So it's really important to look at the diet, and especially in a young cat, because you can change it so easily.
Yeah, especially 7 months old. You're I think you'll do good, Scooter, if you just look at the diet and just go slow too. Okay, when you do it, don't change it overnight. just go baby steps because you don't want to get into that diarrhea situation. But I guarantee you, we can fight this without you having to order our formulas at this point.
Yes. And Scooter, if you're available on Tuesday nights when Pam is talking to Michael, Pam is super, super knowledgeable about that. And she actually transitioned my cats at the age of almost 13 to raw in 2 weeks, which is unheard of. No, raw food does not come in cans. Raw food either comes frozen, or you literally go to the store, buy the meat, and then you add a completer to make sure it's full of the minerals and vitamins a cat needs to have a balanced diet.
Yeah, diet is the biggest thing. We talk about that all the time. I mean, so many things so many things our pets get is driven by the diet that they're on. And just by changing the diet, you can save your pets so many issues. And that's why we always say, where do you want to invest your money? Do you want to invest it in their health care later on in life, or do you want to invest it in their food early on in their life? Because that's going to make their life so much easier by having a well-balanced meal that's actually nutritional for them.
Yes. So, like, Scooter, if I were you and that was my cat, I would change the diet. I would try to get some yeast from Michael, but I wouldn't, if you're not going to change the diet, if you're not going to get rid of the dry food that's causing the yeast, that's feeding the yeast. Like, so, yeast needs to be fed in order to be present. So if you continue to feed the yeast, it doesn't matter the supplement you get. But if the yeast is going to be there, and yeast takes a long time to get rid of, even if you change the diet. So then if you change the diet to something feline species appropriate, then you add that yeast formula, that will be the game changer, because it will get rid of the yeast faster. Nothing's feeding it anymore. So it's like, darn it, got to leave or I got to die.
Yep. Yeah, you force it out of their system one way or another. It's like, really, yeast. I mean, and once again, we're going back. Let's talk about my husband really quick. Serge, it's like he had this candida. It's like it's a common thing that people get on their face, and it's just a yeast thing, And it was just always red. His nose was always chap up and like flaky. And it's like, and he's been on this now for, I want to say, a good month and a half now, and his skin has never looked better.
Has he's been like ingesting it? He hasn't been putting it on topically?
No, he takes it, he drinks, he actually does the liquid. He shoots the liquid.
Okay. I wonder what would happen if you put it on topically too.
We were wondering about that, if it were kind of like the itchy, like I even
balm.
I even mentioned like maybe he wants to put the balm on there and try the balm on there. But yeah, but once again, the herbs are just like so intense that they're, who knows, that could be the thing, because that's exactly the same thing. It's like, this is just made into a balm versus a liquid.
Yes.
So, and the herbs inside here are very close to the herbs that are inside the itchy scratchy.
Yes. Well, and also, I mean, anything that's appearing on your skin is because of something happening internally. I mean, unless you get like a bug bite. So it is wise to take it. I just wondered if he was tackling it from both ends.
From both ends, from all ends. He's tackling every way he can. We're going to leave that one alone.
The things that come out of my mouth. Oh, geez.
Oh, my God. No, it's all good. But, it's the whole magic about what you do and how your discovery is, and how you take the time to investigate. And that's what I wish every pet parent would actually take the time and really learn what they're giving their pet. I mean, for years, pets were kind of like a pastime. They're like, oh, they're our pet. They're there. They're just part of. They're just like a statue inside the house. Well, no, pets nowadays are more than that. They're your companion. They drive with you. They go to your office with you. They live with you. They're in your bed. They're basically eating probably the same time you're eating. So why not give them the best life? And by giving them, by giving the best life, and you've done that with Charlie. I mean, the work that you've done, and then the time that you've spent to look for stuff. I mean, it's just so impressive that you've taken all this time to do this, because what's going on with Charlie, and you now could probably see what's going to go on with Charlie before it even happens by just seeing by what his behavior's acting like. You could probably say,
Yeah. To be honest, I was really upset when I was just at Global Pet Expo, which was Tuesday through Friday last week, and
Right.
it's hard to walk through those shows and see all the products that say like holistic, and you look on the back and there's like three fillers to start out with, and I'm like, oh, this is so tough, because how do pet parents trust? How do they know to trust what's being said, what's being sold to them? And so for me as a cat blogger, you wouldn't have been on here if I didn't, it needs to be human grade. It needs to be organic if it can be. And then I need to have experience with it, whether it's my cat, my sister's cats, my mom's dog, whatever. I can't just, support a product without knowing all of that.
Yeah. Well, and and I appreciate that, because that's how I look at life in general, is like, it's got to be from being authentic and doing what is, you know, and it's scary, because like you think about how many people out there in life that are not living an authentic life to just, I don't know, like what we're doing. It's like, it's not like what we're doing is any better than what other people are doing, but it just seems like every time you turn around, there's like these criminals everywhere trying to take advantage of people. Like you said, like, walking through Global, it's like, that drives me nuts. I mean, it's like, that would be like when we would do, because we used to do these shows all the time. We do, we haven't
I
actually
didn't
done.
know you went to Super Zoo. Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Super Zoo, and what I found, and people think I'm kind of a little crazy about this, but what I found is like, by the time we spend all the money for the booth, the travel, the space, the housing, the sets, everything, by the time we spend all that, it's so much money. I would rather build a stronger rescue program.
Mm.
I would rather donate that much money in product to a rescue than sit there and stand there trying to sell a box of goods.
Yes, yes. I actually talked to two booth owners, or like they were the presidents of their companies, and I was like, "Can I just ask you, what is all of this costing you?" And I didn't know, like, paying all the employees standing there, paying for all their meals, paying for all their hotel rooms. Like, I was like, oh man, I didn't even think about all of that. I was just thinking about like the spot in the convention center with all of your banners and all that stuff. And he's like, oh no, it doesn't end there.
No, I mean, you got to think about, like, well, now Kyle lives in Hawaii, so he flies in for Hawaii. Like, we would usually like load up a van and drive everything from LA, because we're not too far, and then that way we have everything that we need
Yes.
for our booth. And I design our booth, so that's easy. We actually save money because I design our own booth instead of having someone do it for us. And then it's like, you have to think of like travel time, setup day, a hotel, you know, they're, I mean, and if you stay in a hotel, then you've got their taxes every night. You got their food I mean, it's like, it's less to do an Airbnb than a hotel that we found. And
Yeah.
we get a really nice Airbnb for what it would cost for like a 1-bedroom hotel, but it's like, it is, by the time you're done doing one of those shows and you have like a 10 by 10 booth,
Yes.
you're spending like 15, 16, 17, $18,000.
Yes. Yes. I mean, this was 20 grand was like the lowest that I heard. But then, yes, you're standing there for 3 days, your legs are killing you. But then you got to pack it all up.
Yeah.
And that was really sad to me. Was I helped, I do social media management for a pet product company. So I stayed with them and helped pack up their booth. And that was so sad to watch that. There was not with them, but with others, there was a lot of waste. And I was like, this is so sad. Like, just throwing things away that could be used in shelters or rescues or whatever. And then just all the, boxes and, oh gosh, plastic packaging.
It's ridiculous. It's scary. It's really,
Yeah.
really scary when you start to look at and see all the different stuff. My thing just turned off for some reason.
Your black light? Was that a black light?
It was, yeah, I had to turn it white again. One of them went off. I have our whole house on timers, so the house wakes up in the morning, goes to bed in the, so it knows all this things. So it just went off on me real quick.
Oh,
But yeah, no, it's like, and then you think about like these people that are like just starting for the
yes.
first show, and they're doing their first show, and they're trying to do the best they can, and they don't walk away with orders, and all of a sudden, our product is like, the way we package it up, it's like, and everybody, like, whoever sees our product that's an independent store that we approve, they buy it. They
Yeah.
see it instantly. They get it now. When we first started, they didn't get it, but nowadays when people see our product, they buy it. And it's like, we always have like a running list of usually like 20 stores in line, and we work our way down, and the numbers just increase as we go for the newest stores. But we take one store at a time. We make sure they're trained. Each employee has to go through a training process with our product,
Mhm.
because we just don't show that we're just another product on the shelf. We are a wellness team. We're bringing a wellness hub to your store. So we want you to understand what that wellness means for the pet. So yeah, there's a lot. So we're still kind of like, I miss doing the shows, like even like global. I haven't gone to global yet, but I have friends that said, "Oh, you can ship everything down here and keep it in our garage and all that." And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds like a nightmare."
Yes.
But right, and then
Yes.
go build it. But it's like,
Yeah.
I do sit there and I do think, it's like, I don't, it's like, I'd rather take the money and donate it or put it back in the business and build the business, or just, I'd rather do something more than, I mean, because it's expensive to do those shows.
Yes, it is. I mean, I would love to see you at something like global. I mean, that's what's hard, is that I want companies like you that are doing it right, that have, the right, I don't know, goals behind what they're doing, rather than just the monstrosities. I do want you there, but at the same time, I'm like, you could invest that money into digital marketing and probably fare just as well, and not have the wear and tear on your body.
Um, well, and I'm such an anal person with like building and all that, design wise. You cannot stop me. Like, there was one time we did Super Zoo. This was after the pandemic. And I'm all about, like, because I understand events, I understand traffic. I can imagine which way people are going to be moving in the traffic. So I can spot out the booths that are going to be good booths and the booths that are not going to be good booths, right? And so I had us in a really good booth, right? But when we got there, and this happened with Super Zoo, and they had changed our booth. We
Mm.
were on a corner. I paid for a corner, and you pay more for a corner.
Yes, yes.
I was on a corner on a main thoroughfare, not a corner that's way tucked in the back. I
Yeah.
was here, right? And all of a sudden they stuck us back there, and I'm going like, if I was getting married and you changed my venue on me at the last second, I don't think I'd be very happy right now. You
Yes.
know, they're like,
Yes.
well, things change and da da da. And I said, yeah, but I paid for a corner, and we had our whole booth set up. And finally, I got them to switch our booth for us, right? And I had Kyle and Serge. I'm like, okay, guys, we have 15 minutes before the show opens up. We're moving our booth. They're like, what? They look at me, they're like, are you nuts? I'm like, no, we're rolling up carpets, taking down everything. And we had it moved and everything in place, because I know how it all goes together. So I know the puzzle very well. But they looked at me, they're like, Michael, you're absolutely, but it made the difference.
Totally. Yes. Yeah, the company that I do the social media for had a corner, and it made all the difference.
We have
Is that your timer to go eat?
no, this is like, there's someone lost
Oh. An Amber Alert.
an Amber Alert type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So those shows are kind of interesting for us. I just miss going and just seeing all my friends, because like when I was doing Clubhouse during the pandemic, and I had
Yes.
everybody from around the world on my channel, that's where I first met them, was at Super Zoo.
Oh, fun.
It was like, I was like, oh my God, you're Carrie. Oh my God, you're Cindy. And it was such a party for us. And we are just like, it was really fun. But we'll likely be back at the shows. But I just, like, right now, it's like the effort and the amount of time. The last time we did a show, it kind of like burnt us a little bit in the sense of Super Zoo did something different with their show. And what they did is they invited, no offense, they invited all the influencers, and they invited them for free. And so we had clients waiting to talk to us, and there was like influencers in front of them that were talking about, how can we work together? How can I help you? And it wasn't like they were selling our product necessarily, you know what I mean? And
Right.
so
Yes.
we lost a lot of stores purchasing from us during that particular Super Zoo, and everybody was complaining about it because it was just like they just brought in a whole mass group of people that weren't there with stores that we want to sell to. They were just individual, and it just was like the wrong makeup for us paying that much money for the show.
Yes. Yes. That makes sense.
You
I
know,
hadn't thought about it that way. I've been to Super Zoo, but it was in 2015. But yes, there are way more influencers there.
yeah, it was the first year that they really decided that they were really going to do this whole influencer program. And I know that they probably thought they were doing well for the people, but it backfired, and everybody was just in an uproar over it because it was just like all these, young people that had these great channels, and there was nothing wrong with their channels. But once again, I don't want every influencer. I want someone like you that you do what you do. You do your homework.
Yes.
And there's so many people out there that buy anything off of a website from China and put it on their website, and they sell it, and they don't know what material it's made out of. They don't know that it's made out of petroleum oil that is toxic to their pet, and the dog's sitting there chewing on it.
Right. Right.
So, we can go on and on about that, but
yes.
I think Mr. Charlie's hungry.
He is. Luckily, I have a window open upstairs, so he's entertained by that. But this is me still not recovered from Global Pet, that I'm speaking as if I'm drunk. That's what happens when I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Is that?
It's a lot. I'm an introvert, and that, it's
to
from
go and put
8
yourself
a.m.
out
to 6 p.m. talking, walking.
Yeah, nonstop. And then they want you to go to the parties afterwards. You're like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I can't. Physically, it was like, I just want to take my shoes off and sit by the pool. Okay.
Yeah, my thing was like we'd always get a penthouse at the MGM because it was less expensive than the hotels. Remember?
Yes.
Because it was privately owned by somebody, so it was an Airbnb, and I always made sure they had a jacuzzi tub because that was the first place I would hit. I'd get off the floor and I'd be in that tub.
That is awesome. I wouldn't have thought of a penthouse as an Airbnb, but yeah, that makes sense. And yes, there were 2 companies at Global that I talked to that everyone was staying in a huge Airbnb, everybody in the booth. And I was like, wow. Yeah. I don't know if I could handle that if I was an employee. I just, I'm with you guys all day, and then I need my alone time.
I need my own time and be able to do what I like to do and just be able to not say a word because I've said too many words. Yeah.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, darling, for having me on and just sharing this moment with you. And, we're here and we just adore you. And so, think about coming back on and saying hi Tuesday with us and play with us Tuesday. Okay.
Okay. Do you know what the subject is going to be?
Not yet. I think we have an idea. Someone sent it to me. I wrote it down somewhere. I'm not sure what it was. Pam knows what it was. But the last week was killer. It was all about the prescription food that the vet sells.
Oh, awesome. Good. Yes, that was a subject of conversation I had at Global too.
That killed me. It killed me. And you guys that are inside the chat and you hear this and we talk about this all the time. It's like, you hear how we're so hard on kibble because kibble is not the best food for your dog. We don't give you a hard time for it because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. We ask you to go do your homework. And so it's like, for me, it's like when I found out about this prescription food that these vets are selling, and some of them are even writing prescriptions for it. When I found that one out, I was like, what? and there's no prescription whatsoever inside of it. There's
No.
there's nothing. There's nothing. It's just like you go into the kitchen and making a bowl of cereal and saying prescription food on it.
This is my prescription for the day. Yes, it's awful. I mean, it's a whole marketing gimmick and like an ability to upsell because you think it's special and it's actually crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you, Jenny, my newfound friend from across the United States. Where are you again? I always ask where you are. I always get you confused with Pam.
Oh, yeah. Pam's in Texas, and I think it's like called Georgetown, maybe. Is that if that's right?
Yeah, Georgetown.
I'm in Kansas City.
Right. Okay. So
I'm your Missouri girl.
You're my Missouri girl. That's right. Now I remember. Yeah. Okay.
I technically live on the Kansas side, but I was born in Kansas City, Missouri.
In Missouri. I love Missouri. I love it. Well, have a peaceful night. Thank you very much for having me on. Much peace and love. And it was so nice that Charlie made his little debut today.
I know. I was like, I was mowing my lawn. I was like, Michael's gonna ask where Charlie is, and he's gonna be asleep. So, good job, Charlie.
Good job, Charlie. You get extra food tonight.
Yes.
Well, everybody,
bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It was so nice to see everybody. We'll see you Tuesday night. I'm sure I'll get Jenny there to hang with us for a little bit. Maybe we'll get Charlie to peek his little tail in or whatever. We will see you guys again. Once again, here's Floppy Cats. You guys, if you have any questions, be sure to check out Jen's, email or her website, all her different channels, all the different things she's talked about. We talked about fleas a couple of weeks ago, and that's been so spot on. I can't tell you how often I've shared your information with people about fleas. People are just they love the idea of being able to do something natural for fleas. So everybody, you're in the right place. Keep coming back. Let's give your pet the best life possible by giving them the best wellness, no matter what it takes. You saw it here. We don't need to send you our yeast formula. We just need you to change your diet. That's all we need you to do. We're here to help you no matter what it takes, you guys. So with that, have a beautiful night, and we'll see you guys hopefully Tuesday. Bye, guys.
Bye.